and to watch the mental difference between like
one of the most important predictors of success later on in life is something that's called emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence has different parts to it. One of them is being able to kind of pick up the emotional messages that other people are sending. The only way we get good at that is through practice. And so if I want to eventually be successful in relationships, in social relationships, and in my career, then I need to develop the skills.
I've spent a lot of my time online on the internet talking to people via text. And, you know, I can be a good writer and get my point across really well, but it's really hard to tell how somebody at the other end on a different computer or a different device is really reading that message and what they're interpreting. And if they're having a bad day, or if they're coming in after just having an argument with their friend, something like that, and they see my email, they might take it in a way that's very different from the way I intend. Same thing goes for text messages or a Facebook message. Somebody might read what I write in a way that I don't want them to. Face to face, it's a lot harder to do that. And you can see, you know, the tenseness in somebody's face. You can see the expression in their eyes, or if they're really smiling. If they're, as somebody was telling me a couple of days ago, you could tell when somebody's smiling with their eyes or not. That you can only get when you're face to face, when you can see the expression on somebody's face and be able to read them and read their body language. And you cannot do body language in an email, on a Facebook post, or in a text.
And I know a lot of people use the internet as a more indirect way to talk to people, whether it's to like start an altercation or to talk to somebody about a private matter. And I would definitely urge those people to realize that even though using the internet makes it seem more indirect than a face-to-face conversation, there are certain things that should always remain a face-to-face conversation.
Kids will sometimes say things online that they would never say to another kid face to face. And the reason is because I'm not seeing it face to face. And so I don't get the immediate feedback of how my comments or what I'm saying is hurting another person. And so one of the things, you know, kids should start to think of, would I say in a face-to-face relationship what I'm about to post online?
When you talk to somebody in person, you pick up a lot from that person's body language and just the general feeling of the conversation, and that's something that's totally missing over technology. You don't know what tone the person's talking in, you don't know what they look like necessarily, you have no sense of how the other person is reacting to it besides whatever information is posted or texted.
What the research is now showing is that kids who spend more and more time online and they're not getting that practice, they're not as good at picking up social cues. Because they're not as good at it, it becomes uncomfortable when they try to do it, so then their default is to do more and more communicating online. And so it becomes kind of a vicious circle.
It's clear that heavy media use, chronic multitasking, is negatively associated with some of these social feelings of social success. What's the solution? The research is also really clear that the solution is face-to-face time. And so for young girls, even if they multitask, even if they have high media use, if they have a significant amount of face-to-face interaction, it's actually a great protective factor for the negative outcomes that are generally associated with heavy media use. So the good news is we don't have to get some special elixir, we don't have to send kids to a training camp. We need to get face-to-face with one another and connect. And when we do that, we're doing young women and young men an enormous favor when we encourage kids to actually figure out a conflict together face to face and sit in a room and work something out face to face. That when we do that, we're doing them a huge favor.